Mike Tyson is inspirational. You know, Mike was able to pull off some things that very difficult to pull off. So when he was a hot item, people used and abused Mike Tyson, and he went into debt. And he's probably one of the first boxers to come out from the IRS debt that he had. He had a serious problem with the IRS. And he's probably one of the few boxers to come out from that debt from the IRS, which is remarkable. When we think about great boxers like Joe Louis, Sugar Ray Robinson, they had IRS problems and they didn't get out of their debt. Mike Tyson got out of his. Another beautiful thing about Mike Tyson, as we all know, is he went to the depths of the depths. He was incarcerated, came out of that, became world champion two times. Two times. All right. Mike Tyson had a particular persona, image, and now, this man has been able to reinvent himself. He's still the same guy that you guys know from Brownsville. He's still got a beast mentality to some degree, but he's reinvented himself to be a lot of times people used to hear Mike Tyson with the small voice and they used to clown him as if he was stupid. I always knew that Mike was a very, 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 very smart guy. But what really was interesting is now seeing him as a guru, as someone who people kind of listen to for knowledge and wisdom. And he's a very, very wise guy. I mean, this man has succeeded, in show business in tremendous ways. He's been in movies. I think that's the first time I saw Mike Tyson. He had his television series with pigeons. He had he's in cartoons. He's been, all over the media with his book tour. And then he had also his story that he would tell in a funny way because it's very comical. And Mike Tyson, you know, was able to make that money to pay off the IRS. And now he's back in boxing. He is back in boxing after losing that love for the sport. He's fell back in love with it. He's got his own platform, a platform that I pray will launch off and be huge. He's got his own weed farm. He's got a lot of things going on. All right. Mike Tyson's got a lot of things, got a lot of business going on. And this man's in charge of his destiny, raising money for charities. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, his story. You know, how he's been able to gain back control of his life to some degree. And he's got his family, he's got his children, and he's still doing his thing. Mike Tyson's story is so inspirational for that reason. Shout out to Tommy Temper, man. What's up, my dude? It's very inspirational, you know. And he managed to keep his name out there. He managed to keep the memory of himself out there so that his brand is I mean, they smashed pay-per-view records for an exhibition. They smashed it. They blew no one has ever made done an exhibition that has made those kinds of numbers, right? And so that is beautiful what he has done and the platform he has created. Hopefully it goes into bigger and better things as they organize for bigger and better events, you know. And like I said it in the last stream. I think that it's a much needed platform and I think it's a very good platform. So shout out to Mike Tyson. And you can see he has this love and joy for boxing. He's like, you know, he talked about, when he first went into camp, how they was beating his ass, giving him a serious beat up. And he turned around and turned that situation around. And he has he's been able to be very sharp extremely sharp in his fight against Roy Jones Jr. It looks really good. I'm going to try and put up some clips of the fight and just showing you the specific skill sets of each fighter in that fight. Both of the guys displayed why they are good as they are, you know. And shout out to Roy, by the way. You know, Roy Jones Jr., I told y'all he wasn't going to get stopped by Mike Tyson. I said that. A lot of people didn't believe me. I thought his skill sets. I picked him to win the fight. Obviously, it ended in a draw, and of course, it is an exhibition fight, but that deservedly a draw because both guys really did display their given skill sets. And Mike Tyson was trying to knock out Roy, but Roy, as I said, I thought that Mike would be a little bit off. He was starting to get into it though. In the later rounds, he's cutting off Roy much better. He was doing a much better job of cutting off Roy. I mean, of course, these guys are 50 something years old. So it's not like, a lot of people expected Mike Tyson to be like, I don't know, a 20 something year old Mike Tyson, which just never was going to happen, people. I mean, you get older, all right? He was sharp though. He was very sharp for 54 years old. I mean, he was cutting those angles like, my gosh. Roy spun out of a leaping a leaping spear jab by Mike Tyson. He still caught him. He didn't catch Roy full and flush, but he still caught him with that leaping spear jab. I was like, freaking hey. And Mike was sharp. Like, I mean, real, real sharp. Roy was doing some really good work on the inside, which was just shocking to me. I didn't realize that Roy could infight like that. But Mike was really landing the harder, sharper, powerful punches. Now, Roy did catch Mike and stunned him with a left hook counter. It stunned Mike. Mike was like froze up and everything. And Roy caught him with that jab off the angle, man. From the southpaw and the orthodox stance, and the lead right hand it just threw off Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson gets thrown off by those shots. Roy did not do exactly what his trainer wanted him to do. Tom wanted him to do small pivot to the right and work those uppercuts inside work on Mike. But Roy probably saw certain things that he said to himself, I just ain't, I don't want to be too close to Mike. So I don't think he took the chance and the risk. I think he did it once in the fight where he threw an uppercut after pivoting off to the right because Mike keeps his head tucked and he keeps his head down. So when Mike is coming through, you can catch him but it's all timing and you have to have confidence in that shit because Mike is so fast, he's so quick. I mean, at 54 years old, ridiculous reaction time and speed and quickness. When Mike explodes, he explodes. I mean, Roy is equal to the task. He's equally as explosive and quick, but not as powerful as Mike, obviously. But I mean, for Roy to do that, you have to have the ultimate composure. And Roy, at certain points in time, he was not composed at all. And you could tell he's breathing very hard. And you could tell that Roy respected Mike, like, ultimately. He wasn't going to cut that Jersey Joe Walcott angle right there. Just sidestep Mike and then come with the uppercut. That's what we're supposed to do. But he didn't do it. And you guys couldn't see what I did, so I'm going to show you. So what what Tom was trying to get Roy to do is, so this is Mike Tyson, right? He's coming in, right? Mike Tyson's coming in like that, right? So what does Roy do? As Mike is coming into him here, Roy is supposed to sidestep this way, okay? Come up with the angle, come across here, and then sidestep again to turn Mike, okay? So that's what Roy's supposed to do. And Roy was like, fuck that. Sorry about the F-bomb. He was like, no, I'm not doing that at all. Okay? And so what Roy did instead, he does not jab the typical way. Roy does not jab the typical way. And Roy does not throw punches the typical way. So I'll try to demonstrate a little bit of what Roy did, which is exceptional. Because Roy gives you the untelegraphed jab. Okay? So Roy will come here and just hit you, what? Okay? Untelegraphed. So a lot of people will say, sometimes Mike Tyson slipped the jab. He would slip it here. Why didn't he come back with that spear jab? Right there, right? Why did he not come up with the spear jab? Let me try to do it with the right angle so you guys can see it really beautifully. So if I slip the jab here, right, and I come straight at you with a leaping spear jab, okay, I catch you. But why was it that he couldn't do it to Roy? So I'm going to show you. So if I'm standing in front of you as Roy, right, what does Roy do? When he throws his jab, he could throw his lead right hand like a jab. So Roy could just like slip this way and throw a lead right hand like this. Okay? Now it looks like I shot off this side. Let me try and get it to the camera. Boom. So you can see. But he's off to an angle when he throws the jab. The right hand, like a jab. So Roy could do that. Or Roy could look at you here and jab you here. He's jabbing you off to an angle. So he steps this way. So he doesn't do it like, you know, some guys, they stand right in front of you and they throw the jab right here, right? They throw the jab right here. He don't do that. He steps off. He pivots, then throws the jab. And he does it at an awkward timing. And he can step away from you. He can circle this way. He can circle out this way and leave you hanging. So he can, and he's gone. Okay? So that's what Roy would do. Or he may step in. He may step in off the jab, throw the jab, but step off to the side. So he steps off to a pivot. He also could throw the lead right hand the same way, and he can step off to the side this way. So I can do like this, and then step off to the side. Okay, I'm gone. So I hit you quickly with an untelegraphed lead right, which will stun you because you're not expecting that, and he's gone. So that's the special thing about Roy. He don't stand directly in front of you, or he's just pivoting and popping the jab here, okay? He's not just doing that. He's not just doing this, okay? He don't do that, right? Sometimes he look like he's going to throw the jab, and what he do instead? He throw the lead right? He throw the lead right. So he, right? Okay, so I'm just saying that to let you guys know that in boxing, you got to understand what a guy is bringing to the table. So Tyson started to read Roy. He would feint him, and then he'd throw his stuff off. And he was able to, as Roy was tiring out, because he was hitting him with some nasty body shots. As Roy was tiring out, Mike Tyson was able to, you know, conduct his affairs and conduct his business. Anyways, people, man, I just wanted to talk about Mike there. Let's talk about something else. So a lot of people are clowning Nate Robinson because he got starched. And again, that's part of boxing. You're going to get clowned, especially if you get knocked out like that. Nate's fine. He took on more than he could handle. He talked the talk, he couldn't back it up. Am I going to go in on people who who clown Nate? No. But I'll say this. A lot of people who are clowning Nate, who are fans, they don't have the balls to get in there and do what Nate did. All right? A lot of them will say, well, man, I don't play boxing. I'm just a fan. I ain't going to do that. I said, well, if you ain't got the courage to do it, you can't talk that much. You can't chirp unless you really put it together. That's why I'm going into amateurs or the pros, and I'm going to box. I'm actually going to do it. Because if you can't talk about something you ain't done, in my opinion, you really don't have the confidence to talk about something you ain't actually strapped up on done. And believe you me, a lot of guys have been put down in sparring and otherwise, and I'm pretty sure Nate has been put down in his life. Okay, he's been knocked down. So Nate being knocked out doesn't mean that Nate won't come back and try his hand at boxing again. I suspect he will. He looks like that kind of dude. The fact that he went out on the shield instead of quitting, which is very important for people to understand. You quit, that's it. He got knocked the fuck out. Okay. Sorry about the F-bomb. He got knocked out cold. But here's the cool part about it. He got knocked out cold, yes. But the cool part about it is he went out on his shield. He tried to do what he do, and he got knocked out for it. Okay, he don't even know he got knocked out like that. And he got back up every single time like a real warrior, And he said, I'm going out my shield if I gotta go out. And he was coming at Jake. He was serious. He knew this wasn't a game. He was coming at Jake. So I expect Nate Robinson to actually pick back up boxing and go back in there. Once he's not taking too much damage that could affect the rest of his life, he gonna be in there still committed to the sport. And I back Nate Robinson in his next fight to win his next fight. He had the right mentality. He just didn't have the composure. You could see he could do a little boxing, but he just didn't have the composure. And so he made it easy for Jake. Jake just had to counter him. They keep on running into the shots, just like the other guy, Gibbs. Gibbs ran into a shot. He made it easy for Jake. Jake knocked his ass out. Right? Do I think that Jake Paul is a better boxer than Logan? Absolutely. Do I think that Jake Paul can beat JJ, aka KSI? Absolutely. If I had to pick between KSI and Jake, I got Jake. KSI does bub and weave, but KSI again, he gets too full of himself, and he got knocked down by Logan Paul. He gets too full of himself, and he just comes bum rushing in. And you can't be throwing all them wild punches bum rushing in. Now I know KSI got the bub and weave style, and that's going to be kryptonite for a guy like Jake. But KSI, I don't know if KSI is still training. He better be training because Jake trains. And the fundamentals, Jake's got it down. He's got some of that fundamentals down. He's just kind of working on sharpening it up and getting better at it. And he's getting the best kind of training he could possibly get for that. So um I actually think that Jake's a tougher guy than his brother Logan. I think Jake is made for boxing. I think he has the mentality for it. He has a long ways to go, a lot to learn, but I think not his brother, Logan ain't Logan ain't a boxer. I'm sorry. Logan, you don't have the mentality for boxing. You ready to quit. KSI, strangely and ironically, has the mentality for boxing. Nate Robinson has the mentality for boxing. Anderson Gibbs has the mentality for boxing. Now they have to refine their skills and get their abilities up. Jake Paul got the best abilities and skills and just the desire and drive. He got the combination of everything. And I tell you, out of all those guys, all those YouTubers and celebrities, he the real deal. He really is the real deal. And I'm pretty sure he can take a punch too. He is a real, he would have been, if he had started early in his career, he would have been a very, very good boxer. Because he literally is it. He's the real deal. Um, so anybody who's not a pro boxer who, you know, I see him calling out Canelo. Listen, Jake Paul is solid and everything, and he is a big dude, cruiserweight and all that. But listen, Ryan Garcia would destroy him. Okay, Canelo would put him into the ground. Okay, Canelo has killed somebody before, by the way. So Jake Paul need to understand his place. He's at the bottom of the totem pole when we're talking about pro boxing. You shouldn't try to call out these elite guys. They would kill him. Mayweather, if he was to face Mayweather, Mayweather would break his face and give him a beating of a lifetime. Okay? These guys need to know their place in boxing. And Mayweather don't even have to train to beat his ass. Okay? Canelo don't have to train to beat his ass. That's something I think people don't understand boxing. Guys like Jake Paul, they're not even sparring partners for these guys. Do you understand that? They're not sparring. They're not sparring partners for these guys. Ryan Garcia, Jake Paul wouldn't even be Ryan Garcia's sparring partner. Do you understand that? Like he's not even amateur status. Like they are elite amateurs. He's not that. So what people need to understand is this was what it was. There was levels between him and Nate Robinson. But no. And with respect to Javante Davis would knock his ass out. Javante Davis would knock his ass because he's not. Y'all have to understand, he's not a pro boxer like that. He's a dude that's picked up pro boxing, and he's doing very well, and he has great strides, and he's committed to it. But dude, you're talking about Javante Davis has 300 plus amateur fights. You're talking about Ryan Garcia, who got 100 and something amateur fights. You're talking about Canelo Alvarez. Okay, he don't have as much amateur fights, but he's got like 50, what is it, 70, 60, 50 something, 60 something pro fights against the very best in the world. That these guys, let me try and explain this like this. Because boxing is all about skills, all right? And developing them, right? When you've been tested by the very best in the world, you have not even been dropped. You have not even been stopped. You'll fight guys 175 all the way down to 140 at the highest level possible, which means mistakes are not even a part of the equation. Like people don't slip up at that level, right? And you now have to face a guy who doesn't know his head from his foot when it comes to boxing, but he's got some of the fundamentals down pack. He knows how to do, the basic 1-2, all right? Just imagine this guy stepping into the ring against a guy who has fought guys that don't make mistakes at all, right? Whose punch resistance and whose power is supernaturally superhuman compared to the average Joe. Jake Paul's got heavy hands, but they're not developed heavy hands. What I mean by that is he hasn't been time and time again over the years hardening his knuckles and hardening and building on his power and his strength like a Canelo, like a Ryan Garcia. You see, when you use the muscle, it develops. And he's a big, strong, sturdy guy, no doubt about it. And he's a big old cruiserweight, but he's not an elite or premier cruiserweight. So just imagine a guy who is elite dealing with this dude. He'd chop him down in the first minute of the round. Before round one's over, Jake Paul be lying on his back or on his face, almost dead. Like a Canelo would kill him. Oh, shit, forget Canelo. Forget Canelo for a second. Let's just talk about a boxer like, I don't even want to talk about Jamal Charlo. Jamal Charlo would kill him. Jamel Charlo would kill him. I'm talking about 140, 160 pounder and 154 pounder right now. Okay, Jason Rosario would kill him. Let's just keep it going here. Those are elite guys. Let me try. Let me get a B level guy here. A B level guy. Screw it. C level guy. Okay, let me get a C level guy. Ishe Smith would kill him. Okay. And he a 154 pounder. Let's see. What else I got? I'm gonna get an old guy. I'm gonna get an old guy, an old worn out guy who y'all don't even think would do anything in boxing. James DeGale. Well, he a 168 pounder though. James DeGale would knock him clean cold out. James DeGale, I don't even know if he's retired from boxing right now. Let me get an old 160 pounder. Triple G would break him, break his face, break up his body. But these are outstanding dudes. I need to get somebody who's not so outstanding. Name a name for me that's not outstanding. You see, people don't understand. This is boxing. You can't just overnight be an overnight success in boxing. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It's a process, and it takes time, and it takes years to develop. So, it's not, if you're not man, if you're not on the level of these guys, Andre Berto would knock him out. Andre Berto would knock him out. Andre Berto's a 147 pounder. Errol Spence would knock him out. Terrence Crawford would knock him out. You know, Oscar De La Hoya, who hasn't boxed in a long time, Oscar De La Hoya would knock him out cold. And Oscar De La Hoya is at most a 160 pounder. Because see, you make mistakes in there. You cut the wrong angle, you get caught flush, you're out of there. People don't understand boxing is it's about spatial arrangements. It's about how you it's your timing. It's how you move and your rhythm. You can't just be coming in there with a basic 1-2 and think you can do something with these guys. You see, shoot, Adrian Broner would knock him out. Adrian Broner would knock him out. Cold. You're Tyson. I'm thinking of some big names, but guys who people don't esteem very highly. And Adrian Broner's a 140 pounder really. And he would still knock him out. Shoot, Manny Pacquiao would knock him out. And Pacquiao's a 140 pounder really. You understand? Like people don't understand the sport of boxing, man. You know, there's levels to it. Now, I was talking to a guy he fights at heavyweight, and he's angry that that fight even was aired, saying boxing purists, and then saying that guys spend their whole lives, their careers boxing, and they don't make that kind of money. Listen, I tried to explain to the guy, you got to stay in your lane, bro. You got to stay in your lane. You was never going to get that fight with Jake Paul. You're a heavyweight. So what's your problem? Right? It's not like he's taking your spot, or he's taking your views, or he's taking your pay-per-views, because you never were in a position to get to that. You had to do something to get yourself in that position to be able to do something like that. He's talking about how he fought like 20 something years. And that's the thing that I appreciate about some of these boxers and OGs. They jealous that these younger fighters and these people found different ways to make money off the sport. Because they are more skilled or whatever. That you can't be mad at that. What you should be is inspired, and you should find ways, unique ways, now bouncing off of that to make money yourself, seeing that you're more skilled and you've been in boxing longer. There's too much jealousy and envy because guys feel that they're better than other guys and they're not getting as much money as the other guys will shine. And we know boxing is a tough sport, and we know it's hard to get up there and shine. But if you're a little bit creative, or if you get some people around you who know the business, how to really properly promote yourself, you could get that shine too. We all know boxing's mostly a business first. You gotta have some business savvy, and you got no business savvy. Well, that's on you, right? So if a YouTuber could make more money than you've been making because he has his YouTube following, he takes boxing serious. He matches himself with people who are at least on his level or below. That's not a fault of his, and y'all can't be mad at that. you know so you need to do something. And what happens with a lot of people is they're content with their situation and they don't feel empowered. Look what Mike Tyson did with his situation. He was in debt to the IRS. Now he could have say, oh man, I'm just another statistic and sit on his butt. He didn't do that. He worked his ass off and he made it happen, and he got himself free of them. And it could be done. So all I'm saying to and he got smarter for it, you know what I mean? All I'm saying to a lot of people is stop hating on somebody who's achieving and being successful and trying to tear that down so that you can feel good about yourself and your situation. Make something happen with you. You are in your lane. They are in their lane. The lanes don't intersect. So you make the best of what is happening with your situation. A lot of people, they look at other people and they're ready to tear other people down because they're jealous. Stop it. Be inspired by their situation to make your situation better. Right? And if you're not successful, then you know you have to change some things in your situation. You may need advice or counsel or whatever. Or do the necessary changes to make your situation better. But don't be hating on somebody because you can't do better than they are doing and you feel that you're more qualified to do what you do. Oh, don't do that. It's usually ego. If I always used to say, man, some of the music out there is just crap. So what did I do? I keep on talking about it? No. If I said the music's out there crap, then put my music out there. Make sure it's successfully getting out there and doing something. That's what you do. You don't like what you're hearing, then you do something about it. Otherwise, shut up. Ain't nobody want to hear a sourpuss out here. Nobody. So that's what I got to say about that. I'm what you need. If you guys enjoy these videos, man, like, share, subscribe. Don't forget you can donate via Western Union MoneyGram. I'm out of here. Peace.